sheet.
You don't know the
Joe
run
hasn't given
sheet.
us a run sheet.
I could give you a run.
Tonight.
You got to be able to actually know how to read to have a run sheet anyway. So you wouldn't know anyway.
I'm competent.
Shit. Competent. Barely. Come on.
Somewhat.
Go with it, Dan. Come on.
Go with what?
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Am I starting it now?
Go on.
Like, are you not going to go to the intro?
What do you think the intro is tonight? Come on. Just do it. So we just get this over with.
The listeners can obviously see that Joe's in off-season mode with his lack of care towards background of Carlton. At least Jules got the cooter. I've got a little hat and scarf. Joe's just gone carefree.
I'm actually, that's fine. Do you want to add anything, Jules?
Looks like he's in a jungle.
Look like I'm in a jungle.
Or a car park, I'm not sure.
Anything else?
Yeah. Have some decency to close the curtains at least.
I actually opened them because it's nice. I like if the curtains are closed, it looks like a very small space. If I open it up, it looks a little bit bigger.
Now tell everyone as to why you've changed your venue.
It's just for tonight. So what I've actually done. So my partner, Gabrielle, my lovely partner, she's actually moved overseas, boys, which you both know. So that's fine. She's moved overseas for a year, so I got the place to myself. So I'm changing a few things around. I bought a new desk. I dismantled the old one. I'm halfway through building a new desk. Now, unless you wanted me to do this sitting on the floor, I got nowhere else to do this in my apartment. Is that all right or not?
Lies.
It's not a lie. It's actually fact.
Because you have another you have another desk in there. I know that because you tried.
That's already gone. No. I got rid of the little one. That was already out on the street. Someone's picked that up. And the big one I had to dismantle so I could build the other one in that room. So now what do you got to say?
I can't believe it. So he gave it away today on the street, but he was about to sell it. He was trying to sell it to you, Paysan. Instead of just giving it to you for free like a true mate, he was trying to sell it to you.
No, that was the other one.
More than what he would have sold it for.
No, that was you. You're both so wrong to start this tonight. That was the other little desk. I wasn't going to give you that because it's a piece of shit. The bigger solid wood one, that's dismantled. And if you want that, you can still have it. I'm happy to give it to you. I told you. Right. Now that everything's in order, and you could shut the fuck up now. Now that everything's in order, we can get on with the show because we've actually got a nice show tonight. We've got a guest coming in. Got a little bit to talk about. Zac Fisher's left the club. There's some rumors circulating. We've got a trade period, another week of that to still talk about. Can we get on with this shit?
Yeah.
Or are you two done? This is genuinely every week. It's like having to look after kids.
That's not right. I'm just saying that Jules got Carlton memorabilia. I've got something to Carlton. We're all wearing Vortex. Oh, Jules isn't. No,
yeah, I am.
Oh, yeah. We're stuck to the protocol. How many episodes?
We're sticking through the policies.
Excuse me. And Brownie's waiting in the green room, and I feel bad that we made him wait this long. But Dan,
he's laughing.
Did you not do one or two episodes? And Jules, you better hammer him like you just hammered me. How many times have you done an episode from a basement or from your auntie's house or some in an attic this year? And that wasn't even off season. We're talking peak season. Peak.
You know what, Joe? I can't recall.
Yep. Yeah. Neither can I.
I've got a name. You know what? I've heard there's a certain Victorian politician that just resigned that used that in court once, Jules. And if you want to go down that path and be associated with that, no problem, bloke. Fine by me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll give no credit to this side ever. I'll give no respect to this side. John Overrook, honorary Blues brother, Will Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Paul Sebastiani, welcome back to the show, mate.
This one game is a build-up of, a year's worth of work.
That's if you think of his performance.
And I gave my opinion.
It's an opinion-based podcast. Fair enough. Welcome, everyone, to episode 111 of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, proudly powered by the Blue Broad Podcast Network and YouTube channel, and proudly sponsored by Vortex. Jules got the crew. Dan's got the hoodie. I got the tee. Good quality shit. You can see the
really comfy.
You can see the ticker tape down the bottom, vortep.com.au. Last week that you'll be able to go to the Vortep website to put the Almost Blues Brothers one word at the checkout, 10% off, and get your Vortep gear if you haven't already. Boys, now that the bickering has stopped, which is nice, Brownie from Navy Blue Corner, welcome to the show, mate. First timer.
Oh, mate, thanks for having me. Very pumped to get on. And I tell you what, this isn't performative because these boys were going at it before we jumped on as well. So the heat's there tonight. I'm ready to get slammed for my background with just a sad little pot plant in the corner. Thought I'd spruce it up with some blue lights, but gee, there's not a lot going on. But as a long-time viewer, listener, first time on, thought I'd bring a bit of a present to the show, mate. I've got the Book of Judd is here for the viewing. So who knows if things get too bad. If things get too bad, we might have to read a passage and calm down.
Nah, how's this, Brownie? You can actually do it. We haven't done it for a while. You got the book there. Just open up to a
read us
one.
a passage.
Oh, here we go.
Here you go. Watch this.
Gee, this is big. So when that fateful siren sounded, I was overwhelmed by exhaustion and relief that I'd never felt before. There was no jumping up and down. There was no tears. On the podium, I held up the cup with one good arm. And while I was immensely satisfied and proud of what the club had achieved, I looked pretty subdued about it all. Gee.
That's unbelievable. We had no idea that you were going to do that. That is absolutely lifted.
Well done, Brownie. That is class.
Good. I was about to ask if Joe gave you a message over the course of the week just to push that in, but well done by you. I like it. I like it a lot.
That's really good. There's not many guests that come on and bring quality like that, Brownie. So it's
what season was that? Was that the first time? That was the first season we done, wasn't it?
We were doing it this year, Jules. Fuck me.
Really?
Sleep.
Bad memory, boys. Oh, we've been there very, very quickly, didn't we?
Yeah, that's all right. That was to give you two more time for your segments. But anyway, Brownie, welcome. Big year for yourself as well. Navy Blue Corner. How'd you find the year, just to kick things off?
Oh, it was an interesting one. I think like you guys trying to cover it where you never knew what was going to happen. Halfway through the season, it was questioning why you even bothered trying to talk about the Blues for an hour plus every single week, to just some of the best football I've ever seen in my life. A bit different this year. You guys luckily got a few fellas there. I just had my co-host Lockie, who decided to then ditch me halfway through the year, go to Europe. So definitely challenging through the bad times, but he pretty much left for the whole time that we were good. So it ended up being all right in the end.
Bad luck for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, he missed out on a lot.
Now, first off, Jules, I heard you got a new job. This is brand new news for all of us tonight. And I didn't even hear it from Jules. Dan, like you and I, most of the time these days, we don't hear about Jules's life from Jules. We hear from other people. We got a new job, Jules. Congratulations.
Congrats, Jules.
It happens very, very quickly, boys. So, got the call up Thursday. Friday morning was in an interview. So, and then 5 minutes after the interview, got the phone call. So, yeah, pretty wrapped.
Yeah,
you're
good.
You're in high demand, aren't you, Jules?
I'm in very high demand. I'll tell you that much.
He thinks he is. Dan, you missed last week. It's good to see you alive. It's good to see you alive.
Barely. I came good probably about Thursday, if everyone wants to know.
I remember you messaging me Wednesday and you were like, man, I'm still in a hole.
I did.
Dan had his Bucks party, not this weekend, obviously not this weekend, but last weekend, and that is no exaggeration. On Thursday, he was still struggling.
Well, that's the way to do it.
Oh, Brownie, I cannot describe to you how many drinks were consumed over 2 days.
Did you take Monday off?
No.
Jesus.
I worked the morning. No, I pushed all my clients, later. I couldn't do it. Yeah, I pushed them all a bit later today.
Yeah, I haven't seen scenes like that since I watched Wolf of Wall Street. That's what the dance floor looked like. You know the wedding scene? No, relaxed.
Oh yeah.
The wedding scene. He's dancing.
He got to be very specific on the scene, I think, for this one.
Yeah, you can't be saying. You got to elaborate, Joe, please.
Yeah, well, I went to Soho.
We could upload some footage, I reckon. Some dance footage.
I reckon there is some floating about of Dan taking over the dance floor at Soho like he usually does, and it was a big night. Big night.
I messaged every single person that attended that Bucks to see if they were okay. Genuinely did. I messaged Jules twice.
Well, it's good to have you back. Jules, good to see you. Brownie, good to have you tonight. And like I said, we've got a little bit to talk about tonight. There's a few people in the comments asking if this is our last episode. Not sure. We'll see how it goes tonight. I'll make the call on that later. I think I've had enough, to be honest.
It's unanimous.
Depends on how many trades we make. See how
That is true. Adrian Sell, girlfriend, wife, whole year, big decision. Yeah, big-ish decision. It's been nice and peace and quiet for the week. Anyway, without any further ado.
Oh, let's get into it, eh?
All right. We've got there's a little bit of Blues news. Where do we start? Let's
Fisher?
go with
Jordan
start
Russell,
with
I
Fish.
reckon.
Well, I was going to say Jordan Russell or Fish, but let's start with Fish off the top because
All right.
Zac Fisher's a player that's been part of The Journey. If anyone remembers that documentary, The Journey, since the very start, basically. And I think he's pretty much the first one outside of like a Samo. Even I wouldn't even count Samo, but Fish is probably one of the longest serving as part of this list that started on that journey that's left. I think he's one of the first. So it is a big one to see a player like that leave the club. From all reports, he loved the club and he didn't want to leave. And, you know, he needed to seek opportunity elsewhere, and he's definitely going to get that at North. But he gave us a few memories, Fish, over the years, boys. It was a wild ride, round 1, 2022, and he capped it off brilliantly when we all went into absolute raptures when he kicked that goal against the Tigers. I'll never forget it. That was the night the damn wall broke, is what we say. But memories of Fish, boys, and how do you think he's going to go at North? And I don't know, how'd you see it throughout the week?
The thing is with Fish, Joe, you're the moments person, but I just keep thinking about his foot skills. I just think the guy's got Jules, as Jules would say, silk. Like the way he uses the ball is, the way he uses the ball is sensational. That's obviously that's Fisher's asset, isn't it? But I think at North, I was actually speaking to a North Melbourne supporter during the week, and I was saying, "Do you think Fish will play off half back?" Or he was asking me, sorry, and I actually think they're going to put Fish off half forward. That's where I
think you'll see him go through the midfield, to be honest. I don't think he's going to seek midfield opportunities elsewhere and sign a contract if they haven't promised him that, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. I think on one of North Melbourne's sites, I think they actually stated him as a defender, to be honest. So
did they?
Yeah. So I'm not too sure where he's going to end up, but no doubt he's got the foot skills to be able to play at AFL level more consistently than what he's did this year. You know, arguably his best football in terms of consistency was off the half back of the 3-4 games he did play, though, especially in an offensive sense. So I think he can add a lot of value to a side like North Melbourne. And obviously he's played over 100 games at AFL level as well. So he'll give him a little bit more experience down there too.
He's such an interesting player. I reckon, like, up until last season, we were always had such high hopes, but we never really saw enough. It was like, okay, this guy this season, he's finally going to have that breakout year, play high half forward, get it on the scoreboard and pinch hit in the midfield. And it was really only last season that we started to see he was no longer that kind of question mark. It was like, okay, this guy's best 22, big part of this team, kicking goals against Richmond and Sydney, you know, match winners. And then it's all sort of disappeared this season. Not too sure why that's sort of the case on his form. First half of the year when we weren't playing well, he definitely wasn't playing well, and eventually kind of goes to half back, and it feels like everyone else around him has just sort of taken a step up, and there just wasn't that role. So I kind of don't begrudge him for leaving because he wasn't getting in our midfield, which is what it seemed like he wanted. But I do agree, we still kind of are missing what Fisher's meant to be rather than maybe what he is, and it's just kind of up to us to find a way to replace that.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I mean, he was a big part of the surge this year in the back half for 3 or 4 games. Came in. Was it the Port Adelaide game he came in? I can't remember. No, because he didn't play against the Pies. I think he came.
I remember
He
him coming
definitely
in.
came in.
It was at Marvel, I reckon, his first game.
Yeah, it was either Port Adelaide or West Coast, and he looked off half back, and he showed why he should be and is an AFL listed player, because those foot skills were just they were there for all to see. But there are some liabilities in his game, and I think with the way that we play, if you're not prepared to run both ways, apply pressure at every contest, you're going to struggle. And unfortunately, they were probably his shortcomings in the end.
I think that's
As good
where he
as
got
his-
left behind, Joe.
Yeah.
Was
And the
our
thing
brand.
is,
Yeah, well,
the thing is,
as good as his
is
foot skills, were, he never really fit into the system that we were trying to implement from the Gold Coast game onwards. Is how I felt, and even when he was when he was finding the ball like 30 odd times in a game, like it just didn't quite fit with what we were trying to do. Like you see a Jordan Boyd come in the prelim and the impact that he has with 18 touches, and it's like that's the player that we need off half back.
Yeah.
So,
the thing is as well, like he's got. I mean, he probably found his position, to be fair, off the half back. But in saying that, we probably have that kind of player in an abundance, plus able to play both sides of the game.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get rid of one, it would be Fish.
and he had his chances off half forward, like you said, Brownie. Like he really did. And if you're on a list for however many years he was, 6-7 years, you played 100 odd games, and you can't have the impact that we need you to have consistently in that position, good luck to you. Go on and find more opportunity. It's fine. No issue.
Do you think, Brownie, I'll put this to you. Do you think Fish is one of those players that we overrated?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a very good
maybe
question.
to an extent, to be honest. But I don't know. It's probably just one of those, like, drafted the same year as Samos, went to West Coast, delisted. He sort of was in that period where a lot of that talent struggled to develop. You then have the year after, your Dow O'Brien. O'Brien's gone. Looks like Dow's basically gone as well. That kind of crop that there wasn't a lot of leadership and culture around to help develop them. That, in hindsight, is that the reason they didn't sort of kick on? But I don't know. I think we probably rated him somewhat level. Like we all thought that there was talent, and it's at times you kind of saw it, but he was just never really consistent. And I think we all hoped he'd still be able to do that. And who knows, he might at North in that role. When you're kind of looking at the players in those positions, halfback or even half forward at the moment, he's definitely below quite a few. So as much as it's sad to see him go, and we'll probably get into talking about the trade itself, it kind of feels like if we had to let one go to be able to make some other deals happen, he's unfortunately probably the one to go. But what do you guys reckon as far as overrated, underrated?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard to say, really. I feel like because of this year he hasn't played much football, it's hard to judge. If you had played a lot more football this year, I'd been able to maybe make a bit more of a better decision. But yeah, what do we think of the actual trade within itself? Because we would trade our 17 and Fisher for 21 and 25.
I think we lost out personally.
Yeah.
It probably,
Yeah. I think
we've lost out,
30, 31, 32. It'd probably equate to.
Say it again.
What would it equate to? Around 30-ish, between 30, 35.
No. It depends how many. No, it depends how many points Gold Coast use, because it could actually be a bit higher, Jules. Like it could actually come back into 17 or 18, because Gold Coast have got 3 academy kids inside the top 20, but they're going to use. They've got like 4 picks inside the top 20 or something. So that pick could come.
I'm not talking about how they're going to slide.
So what are you saying?
Just talking.
In terms of Fisher's value.
Yeah, correct. In terms of Fisher's value.
Yeah,
that's
well, I think
the pick's going to slide. We know that.
In the end, that the points from that package rate Fisher at a pick 32, I think it was, or 35.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Okay, from that perspective, fine. That's probably the value that you get for him. But I still just don't understand why you got to give up pick 17.
That's what I was shocked about, Joe.
It doesn't make sense.
You. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me. And I think we've lost out. I honestly think. There you go. Works out to pick 31. Lou Felino in the chat. I just think giving up pick 17 and Fisher, and you get 20, 21 and 25 back, Can you play a bit more hardball just to make it 25? I feel like you probably could, to be honest. It's really not that much of a difference, but we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only judge this for what it is once it's all said and done. So whatever happens with pick 21 and 25, whether we take to the draft, there's rumors that we're targeting Geelong's pick 8 in this period. So if we can use those to get up the draft, sure, then we've turned Fisher into pick 8 essentially. So you see what comes of it when it's all said and done. But that's it. Fisher's gone. It's one of the first dominoes to fall, and I think there'll be a few more. But
Brownie, you did hit the nail on the head with talking about Fisher and then the likes of O'Brien, Dow, who we're going to see most likely go, where they are just a product of poor development, I think, at the end of the day. And we don't really know what their ceiling could have been. Hey, if they had been nurtured like, I guess, how the team is now and what, and our culture and our philosophy and our standards, I think as well, to be honest with you, I think that us as supporters are looking at these players and critiquing them a lot differently now. I think we're understanding that we need a more complete player. And if players are lacking elements, do you know what I mean? Like, we looked at O'Brien for years and go, oh my God, this guy's kick's amazing, but shit work rate and shit ability to defend. And you know what I mean? But we're just still praising his left foot. What for? You know what I mean? No, but it's true.
It definitely makes sense. And I'll be honest, I actually quite like the trade, which is maybe a bit controversial on here. But I think initially that was my thinking of like, hang on a minute. I just assumed this would be Zac Fisher for a pick. What's going on? Why have we gotten rid of our first round pick? But I think, and I'll at least put like the Nick Austin hat on, and whether you end up siding with me or not doesn't matter. But if you looked at our kind of draft hand, I think that was a lot of the issue for doing anything. Like, we literally had pick 17 and then the next was pick 69, which, I think DZ sort of nailed it there. So it kind of, if the idea of what they're going for is attack the draft, just having one pick before pick 69 is probably not enough. So I guess they've probably tried to maximize what they could and get 2 picks in, which if you're just taking them to the draft, looking at the draft class at the moment, it's honestly not the worst thing. From what I've seen this year, it kind of feels as if that kind of 15 to 30 is pretty open compared to maybe like last year. Last year, I felt like it was a lot easier to tier like 15 to 20, 20, 25. Whereas this year, it just feels like kind of any of them could be really good or potentially miss. So I don't mind having 2 picks around there. It's probably the one year with how compromise it is to just go, look, if we turn 17 into, let's just say for now, it's 22 and 26. I know it's going to get pushed back or pushed forward. I don't hate it. It kind of values Fisher, like 31 or something like that. And I think North's next pick was, it was like pick 40 something, I think. No, where are we looking? Next earliest, trying to look at my notes here. Can't find it, but it was a bit, pick 44 that they used for Dylan Stevens. So it was hard to kind of wheel and deal between that. I think if we just got 44 for Fish, we'd be absolutely fuming. So it was potentially the best we could do. And then, I mean, if that was what was needed to then maybe turn it into this rumored Geelong pick where 21 and a future goes to get pick 8, and then we got pick 8 and 25. Well, then we're laughing. Then it's not an absolute issue. So that might have to be one that we all just sit back rather than jump on it straight away. Because if that happens, we're happy. But I definitely get the frustration of, well, pick 17's the valuable aspect here. Surely we could have done something else.
No, I mean, when you put it that way, it does make a lot of sense. It really does. We turned pick 17 into pick 21 and 25, really.
Yeah.
If you take this round of that trade.
We've moved 17 to 21. So we've moved back like 4 picks, but we've moved up 44. So
yeah, it's fair.
It's not the
worst. That's absolutely fair.
Yeah,
absolutely fair.
What's our thoughts on Dow then? What's going to happen there? Yeah. So do you reckon we're going to get into this draft, or do you reckon it'll be a future?
Future.
Because obviously it's still a pretty big gap between 25 and 69.
Yeah,
it sounds like they're saying, it sounds like Austin said future. And then if you're looking at potentially the Hollands deal, it sounds as if they're potentially looking to get future picks for that one, because Gold Coast have got so many picks for this draft. They don't need them anymore, that it might have to be a future. And maybe that's going to decide the Hollands deal if we get a good enough pick and we can throw a few together. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. If we can get pick 8 out of Geelong, pick up Hollands, and we go to the draft with like a pick 25 as well. It's not the worst off season, to be fair. And we haven't really. I mean, I know Fish. I don't want this to sound like I'm saying that they weren't worth much to us, because they are. But we've only really lost Fisher and Dow in all of that. So, who weren't best 22 by a long stretch this year for long periods. So, it could be a pretty productive off season in the end. So we'll see. But speaking of productive off seasons in the coaching ranks, we have welcomed back Jordan Russell, which came from absolutely nowhere in the end.
It was random.
Really, really just, out of the blue. Pardon the pun. But, Russ back at the club, which is great. He'll be a forwards coach.
Yeah, because Hansen wants to focus more on your senior assistant.
Well, Hansen This was the critique halfway through the year, was Hansen was juggling the forwards and the senior assistant coaching tactical job at the same time. And obviously that's too much for anyone. So this really frees up Hansen to sit in the box game day, oversee the game tactically, send a message when it needs to be sent, make adjustments on the fly. And Voss can keep doing his people leading from the sidelines, which we've all loved in the back half of the year. But yeah, I think it's a good appointment, boys.
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable in terms of where we're trying, or what we're trying to target, especially because if you have a think about it, I think I said it last week's show. If you were to break it down from 1 to 3 in terms of what was our best line, it'd be defense, then midfield, then forward. So obviously they say a gap there. And we're looking for it and we're searching for growth there. And obviously with the addition of Russell, with his experience for 10 plus years in the coaching ranks, both at Carlton, as well as Western Bulldogs and North Melbourne, it's going to help, boys.
No, it's always good to bring back a blue 100%. And yeah, I think you nail it. Literally, it feels like the forward line's that one area that does need the most improvement. And maybe it is the fact that Hansen's having to do too much. And if he's trying to sit there in the box and basically be the coach up there and deal with the forward line, maybe that literally sums up why our forward line and the mid-forward connection's been so down as well. And I'll be honest, I don't know heaps about Jordan Russell himself as a coach, but if that frees up Hansen and allows someone to be more full-time in the forward line, I think it's a massive win. And he's worked with Hansen as well at the Dogs, so they've got a bit of experience together.
Bit of chemistry there. But I was also thinking that even with the appointment, that you sort of back in Voss and the guys to bring on someone like that. I think we're at that point now. We've got full trust in the decisions that they make to better, obviously, us for next year and years going forward. So, hearing the information that we've heard about Hansen having to juggle, essentially 2 roles, how can you put your full attention into one when you're having to look over 2? So it's obviously, hopefully, going to be better. I think results will be the judge in the end.
It sort of shows where we're at as a football club, because usually in the off season, I know we've spoken about Zac Fisher and a couple of targets, but usually this time of the year with this podcast, especially, we're talking about what players we can target and, all these rumors that are flying around, and we're linked to this person, we're linked to this free agent, we're going to get him, we're going to get that. And instead we go out and target a coach, which I can't remember the last time we really did, other than when we did the full restructure, obviously under Voss, but I can't remember when having someone come in that frees up a Hansen to do this. And we're now talking about how much better that's going to look for us in the box rather than how much better we're going to look on the field because of an extra player. It's just speaks volumes about the evolution of the club this year, I think.
It's because we know that we're close, and that's these little things that make a difference. Do you know what I mean? We're not having to fix, as you mentioned, Joe, so much with, the rebuild and all this other stuff that went on. But I just think that we know we're close, and we know it's just little toppers that are going to make that 1%, 2% difference to, making top 4, getting home final.
Yeah. In relation to that, I'm just trying to think. So do you think that it's in terms of our draft hand, do you think that's what they're trying to do? Do you think they've eyed a player that they could potentially try and get to target, and that's why they're trying to go with the 21 and 25, and they still have the future as well? Do you reckon there's something they're looking at other than just you pick 8 from Geelong?
No, I think
Yeah.
I honestly, I firmly believe that we're going to get this pick 8 out of Geelong. I think we're trying to stock up in that 20s range, and there'll be a future pick offered up for pick 8. It sounds like from what's been reported that Austin's got his eye on a kid that's going to be around that area. I don't know who it is, but it sounds like there's serious interest in a kid around that space. I just hope it's a kid that's got some good foot skills that we can just put straight on a half forward flank and start developing that kid to be that player that we need.
There is one somewhat available around that pick. I don't know if he's too early. I don't know where I've got him on my draft board, but it's probably got him a bit back, to be honest. But there's a guy called Darcy Wilson that got a bit of speed, plays a bit of forward as well, can go down there. So he could be someone that's got decent foot skills, decent endurance. But yeah, it's interesting to see with the draft picks what we're looking to do with it. I hope it's that pick 8, and I hope that's what gets done. But kind of looking at our list at the moment, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on where you kind of see like deficiencies as well. But I don't see a lot. And probably the only thing looking at it is just it feels like everything's pretty sorted. But as far as a bit of youth coming through, players like under 23 kind of ready to take that next step, there's honestly not a lot, because we've decided to not use some first round picks to bring in guys like Saar, to bring in Chera, which is 100% fair enough. We had to do it. We've missed out a little bit in those couple of drafts. It's really like Cottrell and Walsh, your 23-year-olds, Kemp 22, and then it's like Dom McQuay, Carroll, Durden, Motlop, and then we're into the batch last year where we finally went really heavy in the draft. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just went into this going, we actually really need to start to bring in some younger talent, because, 2-3 years from now, we're going to need guys to take over. And if they're not there, that's when you start to bottom out and things don't look good. So while I do think, it's probably pick 8, if it ends up being 22, 26, I think the list probably does need a little bit of a top up with some youth.
Nate Caddy's a name.
Hollands is young as well. If we get Hollands on board, he's young.
Yeah. It adds to it again.
That's right.
So you got to think about that.
And then you've got the Camp Rally twins, and then you got the Camp Rally twins next year as well. So we know we've got at least 2 players coming in next year that are going to be Jets by all reports.
They might take that office by the sound of things. They're reviewing the bloody father-son rule. How about this? Of course, the 1 year we finally get to absolutely rot the system, they're like, nah, it's fine. Carlton can miss out.
I'll ask.
It was always going to be the way, though. It was always going to be the way. Collingwood get the day costs, no problem. And then as soon as we get 2 father-sons we haven't had for a very, very long time, Carlton, no chance.
What are they looking at in terms of completely like disregarded, or is there going to be some minor changes?
They just said they're reviewing the whole thing, like the academy selections and that. So who knows? There hasn't been too much word, but
it'll be a disaster.
Oh God, it just feels like it's meant to be, knowing Carlton's got the picks.
Can I ask you guys something on Hollands? Do you think he's that guy? Jules, I'll ask you first. Do you think he's that guy to come in and make that impact, that mid-forward connection that we need? Because really, we haven't seen much either, have we?
It's hard to say. He's definitely got the attributes to be able to do it. I know in his final draft, he was touted arguably to go close to number 1. But, obviously at Gold Coast, he sort of hasn't fulfilled his potential. I know in the VFL this year, he did have a tremendous year. In the granny, he played, I think he had like 30 touches or something.
He had a monster game.
Yeah, he had a big game. So I know it's at VFL level, but obviously, playing up against bigger bodies and whatnot. So he can do it at that level, but potentially he's another Dow. You don't know. It's hard to say.
He's a bigger body, so you could probably put him inside, which is good. He's got the flexibility to go inside, win his own ball. He's got a bit of pace on him. His foot skills, by all reports, are good. So he's not a hack. But yeah, it's hard. How can you say, right? He played so much VFL football that
Do we have the time for we got to strike now? Do we have the time to wait for a player like him to develop? I feel like if he's coming on, he's got to be ready to play that role.
Yeah, you got to have a balanced approach too. We still can't. I mean, you want to try target that kind of player as well, but you still need an eye on the future as well in terms of who's going to be going out to your like early 30s, like your Newmans, your Docs, and whatnot, because they're not going to be here forever. So you sort of want to try target the players that are going to be leaving to have someone to come through. Yeah, whether Hollins is the guy to come in and make a big impact is it's hard to say. You can't put the amount of pressure on him to be able to do that, to be honest.
It's so tough with him. He's definitely like, he's got the ceiling, which is what I like. And it feels as if the list is kind of in a good spot where we can take a punt on one or two of these guys that have that high potential, but maybe haven't fulfilled it for a bunch of reasons. He obviously missed like pretty much his first year in the system, recovering from the ACL, and hasn't really been able to break into a decently strong Gold Coast midfield. It's basically the only area of the ground that's actually good for them. So it can be tough to kind of break into that. But I don't know if he's going to, if he does come across, if he would immediately elevate us and be best 22. It just feels like, honestly, looking at every player that's linked to a move or is going to move this kind of trade period, there's not a lot I'd honestly take. There's not a lot that sort of fit that role. And for a cheaper option that you're probably not giving much capital up for, wage-wise, or actually giving away a draft pick, it kind of feels like that's the only move we can do. And going off Nick Austin's track record now with every guy he's bought through, from like a Jordan Boyd all the way to a Blake Acres, it feels like he finds these gems and turns them into something. And now we're going with role players rather than something else. I don't know. I'm way too positive on whoever we're linked to. It just feels like they could be an absolute gun.
You're right, because he hasn't missed. He really hasn't missed since he's come in, especially with recruits from other clubs. So if he's targeted Hollins, he's targeting for a reason. And I'm with you, Brownie. Let's just back it in until we see otherwise.
Do you think where we're at, because obviously towards the end of the season, as we finish, we've ended up finishing third, like overall. Obviously after the final series, do we think that we're too stagnant at this time of the year? Because, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is, Collingwood last year made 3 inclusions. You had your McStay, you had your Bobby Hill, and your who else
Tom
came
Mitchell.
in? Yeah, your Tom Mitchell. When Richmond sort of went on their run, they brought in a few players as well. What are your thoughts around that? Are we too stagnant at this time?
I said to you, Jules,
thinking like we're so close.
That's what I'm saying to you. That's what I was saying about Hollins. Like, do we need to be getting in a player that we know is like ready-made per se, like to step in?
So,
Schultz wants to go to Collingwood. You know what role he's going to play. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll play devil's advocate here. I mean, I'm kind of with you, and I'm in the boat that I think you've got to make moves, right? Like, if you're in the window, you've got to make moves to make your team better. But playing devil's advocate, you look at Collingwood, you look at Richmond. Did they have, outside of Dustin Martin, Jack Rewalt, Dylan Grimes, maybe, did they have superstars, or did they have to go and get them? Outside of Nick Dacos, Scott Pendlebury, Jordan Dugowie, did they have, maybe, well, Darcy Moore came on this year, obviously, but did they have superstars in their forward line, or did they have to go and get them? You look across the park for us, like the re-signings of Curnow, Mackay, two common medalists. You got Sam Walsh probably going to win the Brownlow next year, no doubt in my mind. Adam Chera in the midfield. Paddy Cripps has already won a Brownlow. You got Jacob Wettering down back. Like, we've got superstars across the park.
Yeah, Bobby Hill's not a superstar. They got Bobby Hill in.
No,
He's not a superstar. They were actually doubtful about Bobby Hill and what he would do.
Hey, this is why we're talking Elijah Hollins. How do you know? And he may just come in and impact. Blake Acres wasn't a superstar, and he's arguably top 3 in our final series. Yeah, so we are doing that. We are adding layers. It's just this. I think we've been so conditioned as Carlton supporters across the years that at this time of the year we're going after a superstar player, and I think now it feels a little bit weird to be talking about only Elijah Hollins or only Hayden Crozier or these names that are just kind of like, oh, they'll add something, but they're not going to change the world. But really, if you look at the fact, if you look at the past couple of off seasons, Blake Acres comes in, has the impact that he has. whatever. Like, if this is where we're at and we just need role players, go get them. Go get them.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but all I'm saying is we just want to make sure that we're bringing in the right players. Obviously, Austin has been doing that in the last few years that he's been there, but I don't know if we just get Elijah Hollins, whether that's going to be enough. I think there needs to be 3 or 4 players. That's all I'm saying.
How are you going to do it though? Like, we don't have picks. We need points for next year.
Well,
we're not going to give up. We're not going to give up talent. We're not going to give up top end talent to bring in top end talent. So how do you do it? This is where we're at.
I was talking to Reese last night, and we need to come. We need 7 players.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
We need 7 players. You know, with the delistings that we did with Loeb, Honey, who else got delisted?
Yeah, there were a few. Ed Kerno retired.
And then Ed Kerno, Plowman, that's 3. So that's
Fisher's
5 there.
gone,
Then you got Fisher and then Doubt. That's 7 players.
So we did bring in 2 of the Irish fellas as well, though, that do take a couple of those spots away, I believe.
They're not on
our proper list?
They're on the rookie list, but it takes up the whole in the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, there you go.
But so I do agree with you. And I think that it's the tough thing when you're trying to analyze it and look at it. It feels like it's always the worst thing when everyone else around you is bringing in talent. And even you look at, team that just win the flag. Now they're going after a really solid guy in their forward line. And you're looking at us going, we're linked to no one, really. Even the Elijah Hollins isn't like he's requested a trade or anything just yet. It still feels almost 50-50. But I do kind of agree there with Joe looking at it thinking like, well, where can we improve? Like, what's actually the position that we need right now? Because we're in that real lucky position where if you look at our sort of like starting key defenders, we've got them. We look at our key forwards, we've got 2. So many teams are struggling to have one. Midfield, Cripps, Walsh, Chera. You can throw Doherty, throw Hewitt into that as well. Wingers look set. It's probably just a little bit in that forward line as well, I would probably say. But, I mean, if you're looking at the positive side of things internally, Motlop, Durden, are they going to keep developing? Do you trust Cunningham can do anything? But I don't know. My other sort of question, apart from just like where are you looking to improve, is just, well, are they out there? And that's probably why I'm a bit more calm about this offseason as far as us not bringing in too many players in. Every name linked, there's not many I would take. I don't know if there's someone out there that another team are after that you guys would love us to go and go for, or even if there's someone that hasn't been linked that you're like, this is the player we need to be targeting to get us a grand final next year and not wait.
There's heaps of those. Would you go after a Schulz? If he's gone from Fremantle to Collingwood, and I know
what if he's requested a trade he's nominated the team that he wants to go to?
I wish we were in.
Doesn't mean that he goes there. I mean, Shield or whoever, nominated us or whoever, and then ended up going to Essendon. You know what I mean? It doesn't always eventuate.
I'd love to bring him in. I think the only issue with that is just Frio's evaluation of wanting a first-round pick right now. Because can we maybe now, if you've got the 2, like you got 21 and 25, you can give up one and go for the other. I don't know where we sit currently for having to use a first-round pick over a certain amount of years if we end up trading away next year's for the Twins coming through. There's always that sort of mechanic you have to worry about. But, I mean, I'd love us to go after him. It just depends whether you can sacrifice another year of losing that sort of first-round draft pick and not continuing to bring in that youth. But is that the way you strike while the iron's hot?
Yeah, I think it's rubbish that a player under contract can not just request a trade, but tell the club where to trade.
It's pretty cool.
I agree.
I agree with that.
You should have to. I mean, I could be on this show for 10 hours talking about the rules, but it'd be so much better if you're under contract, because you're refusing to be traded without permission. If you're under contract, you have to nominate like 2 sides. That way, at least, if it's Carlton Collingwood going after the same person, Collingwood can't just sit there and say, well, no, it's pick 60 or nothing. Whereas all of a sudden we go, oh, we'll give you pick 30. And then it has to drive the value up. And the clubs will 100% want to deal with the one team that player really wants to go with, because that's just how you have to be. Players will want to come to you if they know you're going to look after them. But it means that clubs actually can finally have a bit of power, which they just don't have. Like poor Freo in this case.
Well, I just feel for Freo, because it's like How many players have left that club? But it just every year it gets to this point, and I just shake my head at the fact that a club. I know this is a little bit off topic to what we're talking about, but it's a good discussion because I've never understood why a club can't just go, we're trading you and just trade a player. Like, bad luck. We know you're under contract, but we've got nothing for you here, and we want to get value for you. So see, and you just trade the player to wherever they want to go. Like, where's the power for the club? But the player can turn around and say, I want to be traded. Not only do I want to be traded, I only want to be traded if you trade me to this team. And it's like, it's just crazy. It's crazy the way that footy trading works. I really hope it changes over the next few years because I look at the NBA, and if a club, if one of the franchises there says, we don't need you, they're gone the next day, and they're gone to wherever that team can get a deal done. And I just feel like if you're contracted, whether you're contracted or uncontracted, there's just too much power with the players at the moment.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
I think their argument is that AFL players don't get, some of them, obviously some don't get like paid enough for them to just all of a sudden have to move into another state and have to spend all that money, which, that's a whole nother argument. That's theirs anyway. But I agree with you. There needs to be something that changes in this space because, players can go for not much. And I think it's probably, back to our list, the best thing that you said at the start of this show, where we're not seemingly, and I'll touch wood, but like losing players that we want to keep. Since this rebuild started, even for as poor as we were throughout, the players that we've lost are guys that we're happy to part way with. Even Zac Fisher, it seems like the club's going, well, okay, if we can get value, it's fine. Same with Dow. So the best thing is that players want to stay that we want to keep.
Yeah, agree. Speaking of, we don't usually do this, but there's a rumor flying around tonight that we've got that Cam Rayner's piqued our interest, but it's
really, we don't do this.
Purely rumor, but I don't think it's for this year. I think it'll be when he hits free agency next year. So if you're talking about a player, a player we need, that's the half forward.
That's the player.
That's literally it.
This time next year, if he's exploring free agency, throw the kitchen sink to go and get.
You're gonna have Jules. You're gonna have Jules. You shouldn't have done this, Joe, because you're gonna have Jules talking about it flat stick now, and he's gonna actually send us what our best 22 will look like with Rayner in there.
I'm just gonna have Rayner in there. That's it.
But he's that player, 100%.
Yeah, that is. I think just getting back to the original discussion, that is the type of player. Cam Rayner, Tom Papley, Lockie Schultz, that type of player is the only thing I think we're missing. And to be honest, if we're targeting pick 8, and Pommy's usually on the money, and this Nate Caddy is a player that played for our VFL side earlier this year, and I did watch him. He's a gun. He plays that half forward role. He can hit the scoreboard. He's a gun. So he could be that player that we're targeting at pick 8. And if he is, unreal.
Gee, the Cam Rayner one is spicy because he's like a free agent next year. God, don't get me excited for this. It's the Bailey Smith like bullshit that we all started last year, except this one's probably actually started from somewhere well. But he's someone, because like the one thing I'd love for us to try and add, obviously, that we've been touching on is like that speed and foot skills, and someone that can run through the midfield. Someone like him's obviously perfect. And if they're good enough, and this is maybe the issue with, not to knock him too much, but a guy like a Fisher, where because he's probably midfield craft that we saw wasn't good enough to knock like a Hewitt out of that midfield or a Kennedy. If we can get someone in that is that caliber, that gives more minutes to those, it completely changes the shape and the look of our midfield. We've been going so heavily in that contested beast kind of mode, but that's almost because they're the players we have. We don't have those other luxury players that can go through there with a bit of pace. So maybe that is somewhere that the kind of player that in a year would look and go, I can probably play ahead of a few of those guys and actually get into that midfield because they need it. Whereas Brisbane kind of have a few of those players already. That's the kind of thing we need to be looking at.
Imagine Charlie in the goal square, Harry on set half forward, Cam Rayner sitting just
have to say, all right,
we're getting away from this now. Brownie, what we've got, we'd be remiss not to get your thoughts on the season. We do it when we have our guests on, but it was a big year. We've got about 10 minutes left, so it'd be good just to get your perspective on how it all unfolded. Take yourself back to the draw. And then take us through the year and your emotions and how it all unfolded.
it's genuinely been the most insane year of football I've definitely ever followed. I think going into the year, there was, okay, let's just make finals at least because of the heartbreak of the year before. And while I was trying to evaluate things and say, we've got to treat it as if we made finals the year prior and try to aim for that top four and do all of that. Really, I was just wanting finals. Those experiences is something we haven't had in 10 years. I've only been to one final, which was 2011 against Essendon. And that's just been the thing growing up, seeing all my friends who are Collingwood supporters and whatnot, being able to go to finals, Richmond supporters. It's just been something I've never had and just wanted to experience. And so the optimism was there. And yeah, I think sort of the start of the season, we were getting wins, but it didn't look convincing. And then all of a sudden it all just falls away. And I was questioning everything after that Sydney loss and then into the Essendon one of just, why do I bother putting so much time and energy into it all? Like, I'm always going to be there. I'm always going to support them and watch them. But why am I giving so many hours to do the podcast, to do all of this? Like, am I getting enough out of it that, like, am I even happy? Is that what it's worth? And then, like, as soon as you have that Gold Coast win, it's like, no. Like, even though it might not all turn around, like, yes, this is the reason that it's all for. It'll turn around at some stage. And then the back half of the season was just ridiculous. That, you know, you get the Port Adelaide win to get you up and about, like, holy shit, we've just beaten a contender. Then to beat Collingwood the way we did, and to storm home, still it being the most difficult journey. We leave it to the last second against Gold Coast just to secure finals with a Charlie Curnow mark, like we do it in the most Carlton way. And then, yeah, like the finals, like that Sydney game, it's like I said, there's those little moments. Like, all I'd been wanting for 10 years was to roar after the anthem for a finals. That's like all I wanted. Like, I didn't even want a finals victory. I was like, just give me that one little moment. And then to have that twice in two of the most batshit crazy finals moments, I think there's a part of me that's still hugging people down at EMCG after that Melbourne game. I still haven't recovered from the emotions after that. It still hasn't truly sunk in. But, like, that's the fun part about footy. We've now got these experiences to look back on. And yeah, we didn't go the whole way, but, you know, you can do it again next year. But it's been a one Richmond final and one Essendon final, I think, for probably you guys as well, that has been your best moments as a Carlton supporter. So to add to that in two of them, it's just been unbelievable. And finally understanding to a tiny, tiny degree how big this football club is that my dad and family and everyone older than me has been able to live through.
I just got goosebumps. I just got goosebumps through my body. As you were talking through, like, getting to the finals and it just took me. It just transported me back to those 2 nights at the GDCR that were just fucking magical, man. It was just magic. And, like, it's like, as a supporter, like, this is where I'm at now. As a supporter, I never ever firstly want to feel the way that we felt halfway through the season again. Never ever. But also, I know that next year I want that feeling back of being at the MCG for a qualifying final, hopefully, rather than an elimination final, or just a home final in front of 90,000 again. So this is how we're feeling as supporters. This group must be just itching to get back to that level. Itching.
It's a dumb question, but
it's like a drug. Like, it's like a drug. Like, there's no the Blake Acres mark in the goal square and the final siren of that Melbourne game. I've said to so many people, I've never ever been so overcome with emotion like that in my life. Like, I don't think I'll ever get that back. I don't know how to get that feeling back. Like, it's nuts. And the only way that you get that back is to get there again, right? So if that's how we felt in the stands, those players, their adrenaline and their energy must have been through the fucking roof. And there's, like I said, if it's an addiction, like, you want to get back to that point so badly.
It's stupid to say, but I don't think I've ever been happier than when I was when that final siren went and when Blake Acres marked that and kicked it. Like, it was just, I've never experienced that level of joy, and it was just for like a semi-final. Like, I can't imagine what it's going to be for going more. And I'll kind of want to ask you guys this, because it's probably a dumb question, but is your, like, finals experience and seeing it all finally, us in it, has it changed how you kind of see the home and away season and just, like, those games? Because it kind of felt like that nearing-ish the end of the season for me, where so much of every single game I was just so nervous before it, even just regular season game, because everything sort of mattered and just any win meant so much. But then in the finals, I was weirdly calm going into every single one of those games, which I've never felt before, because it was like, this is actually what it means. And now round one, it's like, they'll just go again and we'll enjoy it. But finals just feels it's another beast.
Our expectations, Brownie, our expectations are a lot higher, you know?
Yeah. It'll change next final series, though.
Oh, yeah.
You know, next final series, when we do make top 4, the pressure's going to be on.
Yeah, next final series when we make top 4 and we're on our way to a flag, but instead we're in Spain watching Jules get married. But outside of that, it's a good question, Brownie. I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I think for next year, for the home and away season, like, it does give you more perspective to go, like, still going to ride the emotional roller coaster. We all do. This is just what we do, right? But I feel like there won't be as much of an overreaction to those smaller moments or a loss here and there, or there won't be so much put into the week to week emotional ride that we put ourselves on, because we know that it can turn at any moment now. Like, we saw that, and we know that it's about more than just a round 6 win against fucking Hawthorn, and we're like 6-0 undefeated or whatever. Like, we know that it can turn so quickly either way. So it's a really good question, and I feel like for a lot of us next year, that's going to be the way that we attack it as supporters. And I think as a club, as a whole, players, coaches, whoever, the highs won't be as high throughout the season. The lows won't be as low. And as soon as September comes around, that's when it all really kicks off again. That's where I feel we'll be. It's a great question. All right. It's been a few weeks. Let's do this.
Keep calm. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Not happy, Jen!
Yep. Did you guys do it last week?
No, you're not here. Why the fuck?
No, because you stole the segment once before, Joe or Jules. Can't remember who did it.
No, that would have been Joe.
Yeah, I got this. I got not happy, Dan. I got part 2 of a not happy, Dan. So, do you guys remember when the bloke come to my house to do the CrimSafe security doors? And measured it wrong.
Yeah.
He measured it wrong. First thing that caught me. Nana, this is worse.
Brought the wrong door.
No, Jules. We had to wait, I reckon, 6+ weeks because he sent it to the wrong state. Bloke sent it to the wrong state. Please explain to me how that happens.
Was it even the same, like, street? Like, what? What address was this?
I actually should look that up.
Did you get the tracker?
Jules,
so, like,
the
were
guy,
you keeping updates? Like, so could you see it just like fleeing Victoria?
That's too good.
And just go to
I'll
South
have to
Australia?
confess, I don't actually know. From what I can gauge, they were laughing when installing it finally because they go, it took too long because they sent it to the wrong state.
Oh, that's gold. That is gold. That genuinely, that only happens to you.
Genuinely cooking.
Petra's got a better solution. She said, get yourself a bulldog. I reckon you just tear people apart.
I got a toy spoodled.
She just licks you to death and pisses on you when you walk into inside.
I got another one.
That only happens to you. Oh, you got 2. All right, beautiful.
Yeah, I missed last week. Can I do another one or not? We have to finish.
Yeah, it's your segment. You can do as many as you want.
Explain to me why furniture companies or whatever need to put that much polystyrene into the box that you can't actually recycle all of it. Explain.
What
Joe,
do you mean? Just take the polystyrene out and then put the cardboard in the recycle.
No, but yeah, I know. Where are you going to put the polystyrene? They give you that much. Boy, I can build a house with that much polystyrene.
Mate, it's because they're sending it to about every corner of Australia. They've got to make sure that thing's padded before.
Yeah,
gets...
true. Honestly, man. Then you can't even
especially
put
just in case they send it
any
to the wrong
bin.
state as well.
Bloke, you can't even put the polystyrene in a recycling bin because it doesn't go there. And yes, tell me where you put this thing. Busy.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to
Bring
go
it to-
busy wherever it is.
Bring it. I've got the big bins here. You can bring it here next time you pop around.
There you go. Use a bit less. How about that? Put bubble wrap.
All right. Again,
I'm done.
this sort of shit only happens to you. This is why we've got this segment, because I don't know anyone that suffers more from a customer service. And I suffer from a customer service standpoint. I can tell you, I've had my fair share of just shit. But it feels like there's a story every week at the moment with you. And they're obviously because we've got a segment for it.
Sammy's answered the question. Mate, I work with a furniture company. It's because they don't get damaged. I get that. But it's a lot. Like, I obviously know the reason, but there's a lot of polystyrene.
I can't wait for the next time it comes and there's just none. They've heard ya, they've listened to ya, and your furniture's just cooked.
And I order a TV and it's just crashed. It's just destroyed.
Oh shit! All right, that's a good night, lads, and it's been a
Thanks,
good show.
Brownie.
Brownie, really appreciate having you on,
Cheers,
mate.
Brownie.
It's been we wanted to get you on for a little while, but it took some time, but only 111 weeks, but we got there in the end.
Mate, thanks for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Keen for a massive 2024.
That's
Yes.
it. And
will
until then, well, we'll have at least one more show next week because we haven't announced that this was our last episode. So there's at least going to be one more, maybe two. We'll see how we go. We'll discuss it during the week, but we will see you next week at a bare minimum. And until then, up the baggers.
Up the baggers.
Out the baggers.
Go Blues.